The top 25 list was revealed today on TSN and TSN.ca. We all partook, right? We all did our vote. We all sent our votes in, our top 25. What's interesting about this list, so before the year, we all vote on the top 50, what we project to be the top 50 players in the NHL. And then at the All-Star break, we voted again on a top 25, and it's been revealed now, the top 25 players looking back on this season. So basically through 50 games on average, how would you rank the top 25 players? To no one's surprise, Connor McDavid, unanimous at number one.
Yeah.
Everyone had Connor at number one. He deserves to be at one. I don't believe, to anyone's surprise, Draisaitl at number two. I personally had Pasternak number two on my list, Draisaitl 3. But on this list, it's Draisaitl 2, Pasternak 3. That's not a big surprise. Pasternak was 25 coming into the season on our top 50, but he's a superstar. Like, no one would have been surprised if you said he's having a great year and he's number 3. Where the surprises come in are Tage Thompson at number 4, Erik Karlsson at number 7, and Linus Ullmark at number 8.
Wow. Well, those guys weren't rated. They're
Exactly.
They're on the list.
Not even in the stratosphere of coming into the top 50.
I know for a fact I didn't have Ullmark that high.
I had him in the top 10. I had all three of those guys in the top 10.
Of course, here we go with you. You do this every year. As soon as
I'll show you my list.
No, it's fine.
Where did you have Ullmark? Where did you have him?
Dude,
out of curiosity.
You know what? Next commercial break, I'll look, and we'll talk amongst each other.
Okay. Why do we?
Why don't we talk on air? But here's more.
We have a
it.
guest on the phone.
But
my thing is Linus Ullmark is having not just a career year. He's having like Hasek type of numbers.
Yes,
like
the statistics
ridiculous,
and
like he had to meet. For me, he had to be in the top 10.
Not for O.
Well, like maybe he might.
Well, I was asked a question. Mind you, it was by a Bruins fan last night, and he was sitting beside me. Do you think Ullmark will get heart love?
Interesting.
If he's having Hasek-like stats, he probably should.
Which is, I mean, he's
something
in that
to chew on.
Something to chew on. All right, here's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst. Did you have Linus Ullmark in your top 10, Johnny?
I don't think I did.
Wow.
I don't think I have to check. I mean, I did it just a week ago, so it's not
Johnny
long
hates
ago,
goalies too, so that's it.
Well,
you're like Ray.
Do.
You and Ray, like it didn't matter. It's all goal scorers and offensive
college
stats.
players.
College players.
Anyone from Scarborough, Bowling Green, college. Any of those things I like. Yeah. No, I mean the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, if it's the most important position in the league, on the team, and he's doing better than anyone else in the league, undoubtedly at that. I mean, he warrants top 10 consideration. You know, I guess the question is, like, how much of that is also driven by the team and how much is it him? But you cannot deny the stats. They are ridiculous. Now, Swayman's are really pretty good as well, other than his, a couple of rocky starts. So, but yeah, I mean, having the fact that Ullmark is in that list is not, to me, quite as shocking, because goaltending generally is so impossible to predict. Like, you don't know. Like, Logan Thompson might, could have been one of the best goalies. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen year to year. But Tage Thompson, to me, the fact that he was in the top 5 and deserves to be there, that is out of left field. I know we had a good year last year, but not this kind of year. So that one, to me, was the shocker.
Yeah, hold on a second. Sorry, Johnny someone sent us a picture, and we're trying to stay on the rails.
We're trying to stay focused here behind the scenes, but we've had an incident, but it's fine. But
anyway,
I agree with you. The fact that the numbers do, especially with a guy like Swayman. Like Swayman, I don't think he's played as well, and I don't think he's been as good a goaltender as Ullmark. But again, you've got a team that is, how good is the team? How good is the goaltender? Or a combination of both. I struggle. I'll be honest. I struggled with that list because there are guys that I just want in there because I know how good they are, but they're not. Like Austin Matthews was a guy that I struggled with. I don't know how you felt, Johnny. I struggled with Austin Matthews.
He's ranked 23 on this list.
Right.
He was number 2 coming into the season, and TSN collectively has him at 23. So
I don't know if I had him in my top 25. It'd be right around the edge.
Yep.
And I guess that's the curiosity. Like, did you have Mitch Marner on your list? Did you have William Nylander on your list? And if so, were they both higher than Austin Matthews?
Right.
And now Austin's year has not been bad at all. It's essentially almost the same points and goals as Nylander, and yet Nylander, comfortably is inside whatever he was, 16 or 17 or something like that. And then Austin below him, when Austin is undoubtedly a better defensive player as well, even with the list production, I think it's almost more you're being hypercritical of Austin Matthews because he is so good and the standard he set has been so high.
That's what it was. He set the bar so high last year that it's tough to live up to every year. We know that. But it's just, I'm looking at him going, yes, good season, but we saw an amazing season 6 months ago. So but that's the bar he set for me.
So did McDavid and Draisaitl, and they're 1-2.
Yeah, but like McDavid's now...
McDavid's on a different level, but
McDavid keeps building on what he's doing.
Right, exactly. But like Draisaitl and Matthews, like I think McDavid's on his own, and then I would have a list that would include Draisaitl, Matthews, McKinnon, McCarr, in terms of just building a team today, not based on what we've seen through 50 games. But Draisaitl every single year, game 1 is in the top 5. Game 50 is in the top 5. Game 82 is he is consistently in the top 5.
Yeah,
always.
Outside of injuries, I mean that's the one thing, right?
Yes. But
yeah, I mean, you hear Draisaitl today. He's like, now he can be hard on himself, but in the media availability at All-Star, he's like, I haven't played well in the first half. Like, I'm not happy with how I played. Now, some of that might be lip service, but so much of the offense for those big numbers for Connor and Leon is on the power play. And I do think Leon thinks he can be better 5-on-5 in the remaining 30-something games that they have to play because, does Connor have 35 power play points, 40 power play points? Like, their power play numbers are staggeringly huge because I know their power play runs through the two of them, and it's unstoppable, it seems.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. And I feel like Draisaitl especially doesn't care about stats anymore. Like, I think that he's been there, done it. I feel like he found maybe a sweet spot of what he expects out of himself in last year's playoffs. And that's to me, that's the internal bar that he might have set going, I know I'm capable of this. I know I've won a Hart. I've been right there. Like, it's more about what can I do kind of for success as a team. And both of those guys are hungry out there. And that's the same type of attitude that the guys have to have here in Toronto.
Well, and they do in Toronto. I mean, I saw the quote from Nylander a couple of days ago where I feel for the Leafs in a way because they're paralyzed by the playoffs and the lack of success. And I get the impression they're terrified to acknowledge any regular season success or having fun. Like, Willie went out of his way to be like, whatever, I don't care, we just got to win. It's like, come on, Willie. Like, you're having a career year, man. You can admit that. Say you're having a great year. Even say you should be at the All-Star game. I'd back you on that. You should be. But, like, Matthews has done it. Marner's done it. Matthews you could have an 11-point night, and they'd come out and say, well, it doesn't matter. We got to do what we're doing in the playoffs. Like, they just they can't breathe publicly right now. Feels that way.
I hope that privately they're able to enjoy the journey.
Yes.
Because it's hard, right? Like, it's hard, it's arduous, it's tiring, and, like, you need to be able to celebrate the successes. And if all you are is, like, ho-humming every time you do something good, like, that makes it that much longer a season and that much harder to kind of keep your joy. Why they do it, and I get why. If they came out and did exactly what you say, it's like, no, I mean, I love it. I want to score 50. I'm chasing it. I'd love to do that. Everyone's like, well, look at these guys, selfish, all they care about. Like, you could see the reaction, so I know why they do it. But hopefully, privately, like in their own minds, in their own heads, they are being able to enjoy another tremendous year certainly for Nylander and Marner.
Yeah, I'm struggling. Like I said, I've told this to O and to Hayes. I struggle to put that 25-game list or 25-player list together because I left off some unbelievable players.
Oh, yeah.
That, like,
Vasilevsky.
I left Saros, Vasilevsky, Barkov, Tuck. Hyman and R&H are having unbelievable seasons.
I had Hyman on my list.
I didn't have them on my list. Pettersson I left off my list.
You know what,
Johnny? What Hayes does is every good player, he goes, I had him on my list.
Yeah, I know. He's got
40
75
guys.
players on his list.
Yeah, I had
we needed
everybody.
to broadcast his list.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. It doesn't. I had Pavel
did.
Zacha on my list. Go ahead, Johnny.
Well, he was a big round. Did you hear the reaction of the Boston radio guy when he scored his goal?
No.
That's why he was a first-round pick in 2018. I'm like, that's 5 years ago. Or he was 16. I'm like, you can't reference a top talent from 7 years ago because he happened to score a wrist shot that went under the bar. It was a ridiculous call. It was tremendous.
Stoppable puck, too.
Yeah, one that probably should have been saved anyways. But I did have Hyman as my 25th guy because of the year he's having. And I'm like, well, maybe it's power play. But he's like top 12 in the league in 5-on-5 points. And he's got 26 goals.
Right.
Like, if it's not about who's a better player, but who's just played better. And I know he does it because he plays with those guys. But, man, I did put him as 25 on my list. I do remember that.
There you go.